playing him. Meanwhile, former Cowboy legend Deion Primetime Sanders weighed in.
I love him. First of all, Jerry's my man. I love Jerry Jones. I think he's one of the greatest owners that would ever live. And a lot of people talk foolishness about Jerry. Have you ever heard one of the players say something crazy about Jerry? So I'm praying that they win. They have the offense, the defense, the coordinators. They have the personnel, especially when they get CD back in camp. But I'm just praying for them, man, because I think they have everything to really win that division.
And the reason why is that if Shedeur Sanders is as talented as he is, he'll be snatched up before the Cowboys can get him. This ain't college where you're going to recruit somebody. You got to go get him in the NFL. Basketball, you get away with it because you can simply say, I don't want to go. I don't want to show up. It's a lot harder to pull off in the NFL. But part number two, with Deion Sanders being on the coaching staff, Deion Sanders doesn't need a job. He doesn't need to be on the coaching staff.
No, he just loves it.
I'm just saying he'll get a job.
Yeah. But I'm just saying he
college.
loves mentoring guys.
But he'll get a job in college. He loves college more than he loves pros, and if he's going to do it, it's got to be as the head coach. Here's the thing, and Deion is my brother, and I love him. My brother, I got to look in the camera and tell you this. I don't know what the hell you talking about. And I love me some Jerry Jones. Gotten to know him, talk to him a lot. Here's the deal. The record is the record. We ain't going to sit up here and first take and lie. First 7 seasons in the NFL, Dallas Cowboys with Jerry Jones, 11-2. Last 28 years, 5-13 playoff record, 5th worst in the NFL, no Super Bowls, no conference titles, and since 1996, they've been one and done in the postseason 8 times. The only franchise that has been worse is the Indianapolis Colts. That is not greatness. Deion Sanders, who is great. The greatest cornerback that ever lived, one of the greatest football players that ever lived, one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen in history, okay, knows a thing or two about greatness. Jerry Jones over the last 28 years has not been great. That is just a fact, and I'll leave it at that.
Deion didn't say anything.
No, he didn't.
We're supposed to react to what Deion said. He didn't say anything. He expressed his love for Jerry Jones because that's his boy, and then he says that he hopes to get CD Lamb back in training camp. Deion didn't say anything, so there's nothing to react to what Deion said.
Well, he said you never hear players saying a bad word about Jerry Jones.
Right.
That's true.
That has nothing to do with
players love.
That's fine. That has nothing to do with him not signing CD Lamb yet.
But it also is situational. When are you talking to those players? Are you talking to those players about Jerry Jones after they've just been given a big contract? I'm not going to say anything bad about it either then.
Let's talk to CD Lamb right now and see what he says.
Well, the only thing we've heard from CD Lamb was the LOL tweet in response to Jerry Jones saying, I'm not.
Which is
I don't have any
all you
sense of
needed.
urgency in terms of getting CD.
Right. But my thing is this, okay? When people look at you in a certain role, that's how they judge anything they have to do with interacting with you. Jerry Jones is a multi-billion-dollar owner of a sports team. He didn't make his money with the Cowboys. He made enough money to buy the Cowboys. So he looks at employees as the help. CD Lamb is the help. And so he's going to treat CD Lamb like you're going to get your money when I determine you can have it. Because they're saying, oh, we're working out numbers. There's nothing to work out. You know exactly what his value is based on his production and compared to the rest of the league. There is a market that is set. You know what he is worth. So there's no numbers to look at. It's really about Jerry didn't like the fact that he didn't show up for training camp to work out. He was there. He didn't show up to work out. He's like, oh, then we're not going to get the contract done until I say we get it done because I'm still the boss here. That's really what it's about. It's not about the money. It's not about years. It's about Jerry Jones wanting these players to do what he wants to do on
when
his
he
terms.
Wants to do it.
Thank you. And that's not what's happening.
That most bosses?
I'm not saying it's wrong. However, CD Lamb is looking at this situation like there have been other players in this organization who've come up with contract situations who were undervalued based on the current deal, and they got their money. Why do I have to wait? What do I have to do to show you my worth? Then
I don't know about that. Dak had to wait. Ezekiel Elliott had to
They
wait.
all had
Tony
to wait.
Romo didn't have to wait. Jason
Tony
Witten
Romo
didn't have to
did.
wait.
I agree, though.
So there's guys, history says, didn't have to
history
wait.
says they did have to wait.
And also recent history, this is the best team collectively probably they've had in a long time. Stephen A's talking about what they haven't
I would
done.
say last year's team.
Yeah.
That's last year.
And what that team,
Not
but so,
this year's
But what that,
But if you're trying to keep it together,
they
though.
had CD Lamb. So if
Thank
you
you.
want to keep it going, if you want to change those stats that you rattled off, if you want to change the fact that you've won how many playoff games in the last 8 years, if you want to change that, you need CeeDee Lamb because that makes Dak better. That makes everyone better.
Right.
So you have to sign him at some point. And I don't think, does anyone think it's not going to get done?
No, this is good.
It's going to get done. So then it goes back to what Mike is saying here. And Michael's saying he wants to treat them like you have to do what I want you to do on my timeline. And so now you're going to have to wait. I didn't like what you said. So this is like, it's like you're, do not make me turn this car around. Do not make me count to 3. It's punishment from like a parenting perspective. You are my child.
Yes.
You are beneath me. So now you will wait because I don't like the way you handled it. It's punishment.
We talk about the Cowboys so much. Michael, when
We
you
do?
said that when you said that Deion didn't say anything, the whole crux of Deion's point, this is what Steven is saying, is that Jerry is essentially beyond reproach. Like there's nothing wrong with how Jerry manages his team. There's nothing wrong with how Jerry treats his players. He is a wonderful owner, yada, yada, yada. That is incorrect. And I know that those two have a wonderful relationship, but that is incorrect. We're talking about mismanagement here when you're looking at the Cowboys. You're looking at a franchise that is operating unlike any other franchise. When I talk to people in the NFL, no one has any idea what the Cowboys are doing. How you can have a quarterback, a wide receiver, and your top defensive player all saying, hey, show me the bag, and no moves. Look at this. Projected Cowboys cash spending. They are last. They're projected to be last in spending this season, next season, and in 2026. They got the money. We know that it's a $10 billion business.
Yep.
We know that they have the bread. So when I look at the Cowboys, I just want to know, what is the plan? Like what, to your point that you said yesterday on the show, Steven, which is what is most important to Jerry? Is it winning? Are you ready to make the uncomfortable decisions at quarterback, at head coach, at particular positions to guarantee that this team can take it a step further? Because it's not just they've fallen short recently. This has been 30 years of falling short.
Correct.
They are perennial underachievers.
And what is the one most consistent thing during that 3-decade reign?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones. And so look, pride is a hell of a drug.
Or ego. Pride or ego. He's got to put something aside.
Before the fall.
They go lock and step. And Jerry Jones right now is the victim of his pride and his ego. Because if you're trying to win, which is that we're trying to win Super Bowls, we're all in. No, you are not. What you're doing is not. You can say whatever you want. Actions speak louder than words. His actions is nothing about all in.
So you disagree with Deion?
I asked the question. And I reached out to the Dallas Cowboys. I requested a one-on-one interview with Jerry Jones. I haven't heard back. Hopefully I'll get it. We'll see what happens. Because I'm going to ask him to his face, what's his definition of winning?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't been in an NFC championship game entering your 29 years. You haven't been in a Super Bowl, obviously, in the same amount of time. Yes, you're worth $10 billion. Yes, you're on the back pages. Yes, you're leading sport debate shows and all of those different things. You've done everything but win. What's your definition of winning? Micah Parsons is due his dollars. He ain't get them yet. Dak Prescott is due his dollars. He ain't get it yet. CeeDee Lamb is owed his dollars.
100%.
When you see what Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill and others have gotten, his market value is at about $34 million per. Mm-hmm. Where's his money at? He clearly wasn't the reason you lost a playoff game. And so when you look at it from that standpoint and you see the slow roll process, and this is what, and listen, we have to say this, all right, because it's very, very important. I'm going to speak personally. How you get treated matters. The money's the money.
Yes.
Okay? Whatever you get, listen, you got a negotiation, you got a number, they got a number. Mm-hmm. Somehow, some way, you work it out. But how you get treated in that process tells people a lot about how you're thought of and what you.
And that
Exactly.
CeeDee Lamb, 136 receptions, okay? 3,108 yards over the last 2 years. Leader in receptions, second leader in touchdowns, etc. And we're having this problem. Mm-hmm. At some point, it's like you sit back. You're like, nah, let this play out. What you trying to say? Mm-hmm. What you trying to say? Okay, because when it gets like that.
What do you think he is trying to say? Why do you think he's?
What I'm saying.
No,
to
but
you
I'm
is,
asking, why do you think he's doing this with?
Well,
with
again,
these guys?
Jerry Jones did this, and I brought this up yesterday too. Jerry Jones did this to Emmitt Smith. That's why you saw Emmitt Smith speaking. Every time don't you notice that every time there's a contract dispute, somehow, some way, Emmitt Smith finds himself in front of a camera?
Because he remembers how he felt.
He remembers.
Going through it.
1993, Dallas Cowboys, reigning defending Super Bowl champions. Emmitt Smith, leading rusher in the NFL, big time, Super Bowl champion. And Jerry Jones had that man holding out, and it was only after they went 0-2 and Jimmy Johnson strolled up to the post-game press conference and just threw his, didn't say a word to reporters, just threw his hands up like, that's when Jerry Jones signed.
So why do that song and dance if you're going to ultimately play that?
Again,
that's what I'm
because
curious.
it's called cartel behavior.
I would say it's called power.
It's called cartel
Jerry
behavior.
Jones has the power, and he's using the power because he's had it. So if you're going to ask Jerry Jones what the definition is of winning, ask Deion what the definition is of being a great owner.
That's right.
Because his criteria might be different than what our criteria is.
Totally right, Nicole.
Great
You're
question.
totally right. And that's really what this comes down to. But there's moments like that. If you're a player, yeah, Jerry Jones does this, but Eves brought it up a few minutes ago, and I brought it up yesterday. We know certain players he didn't do that to. Mm-hmm. And they didn't perform like these brothers.
Exactly.
Why are you doing it to them? But he didn't do that to Tony Romo. He didn't do that to Jason Garrett. He didn't do that to a few players. What you doing it to them for? It's a legitimate question. Again, I got mad love for Jerry Jones. I really do. I'm very fond of him. But I would ask him that question to his face because it gets to a point where it's time to answer those questions. It's CeeDee Lamb. You see what the market bears. You're projected to spend $30 million less than any other NFL team, even though you're worth twice as much as the average team is in the National Football League at over $10 billion. What's up? That's a legitimate question that Jerry Jones has an obligation to answer regardless. And when Deion said he's a great owner, this is the part, though. There are a lot of things that Jerry Jones has done off the field for guys off the field.
Yes, former players for sure.
I mean, my Lord, there's a lot of things he's done, which is where the love comes from.
But we have to remember
the
term owner is owner of a business.
Right.
So from a business standpoint, he's been exceptional for himself and the entire league. Mm-hmm. But he also has a role in the front office as the leader of the front office personnel-wise. That's where he's fallen short because he hasn't won a championship. He hasn't put together a team that could even get to the NFC Championship game. So that's where you have to measure him on as well. The question is for him, is your ego more important than the results on the field? If you look at the best owners in sports who've won championships, they don't get caught up in their ego. Bob Kraft, he was a billionaire before he bought the Patriots. He didn't trip on paying Tom Brady or whoever else needed to be paid on that team to win Super Bowls. You can take it to other sports. The guys who get caught up in their ego typically fall short of their expectations on the field, and Jerry Jones has done that for 3 decades.
But somebody, listen, you're absolutely right. At some point in time, you got to ask those questions. Jerry Jones has to answer those questions. And I remember, too, we just brought up Kaepernick. We were just talking about Kaepernick and all of this stuff. And I remember when, the whole social justice issues were going on throughout our country, particularly in the aftermath of the George Floyd murder and all of this stuff. And Jerry Jones was conspicuously quiet. And I came on the air and I called him out like, yo, where you at? What I was saying was, it doesn't matter. Nobody should be telling you what you should say. But you don't get to be quiet when you look for the cameras every chance you get.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, something like that comes and you quiet. Nah, that ain't the time to be quiet. Say whatever it is that you're going to say. But you got to say something. You can't be quiet. And to me, he does things from time to time that really bothers me from the standpoint, like, you quiet when you should be speaking. You playing hardball with people you shouldn't be playing hardball with, and you soft pedaling stuff with people you should be playing hardball with.
Yeah.
There's a level of inconsistency. That's not good. That's not good.
He brings too much chaos to his own organization as an owner. Too much. Unnecessary.
Kimberly, I heard you're out of here.
And with the Cowboys talk.
Me too. I wasn't supposed to talk about the Cowboys today, so I apologize to my best friend, Henry Thomas.
We have 12 to 15 segments on First Take every day.
Yes.
All right? We might talk about the Cowboys. We talk about everything else. But in the end, the people speak. And the fact of the matter is, much to my chagrin,
people love hearing about
they love folks talking about the damn Cowboys.
I get it. I wasn't in it.
Don't think they worth it myself.
Okay.
But
here we are.